Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're continuing the post-draft analysis. Last team we talked about was Philadelphia. The 76ers are one of the biggest winners of the draft, in my opinion. The team we're talking about right here, the Denver Nuggets, are another huge winner. I'll let you know why, but first, I want to remind you to leave a like and subscribe. Been enjoying all the support lately. Hope to see that continue. Without further ado, let's talk about the Denver Nuggets. With the 22nd pick, they selected Zeke Nnaji, a big man from Arizona. And with the 24th pick, they selected R.J. Hampton, a guard from the New Zealand Breakers, although he's initially from the United States. This was two really good picks in my opinion. Nnaji was one of my favorite players in the draft. I had him 20th on my board, which was significantly higher than the general consensus had him. I believe that he's going to end up being a really interesting player who can play either the 4 or the 5. I think he's going to end up continuing to improve in his shooting ability, be able to space it out to the three-point line and become a stretch big man. I also think that on defense, his energy is going to allow him to continue to improve. He already brings the energy, and all he has to do is improve his mechanics and stuff like that. If he can improve his shot blocking as well as his ability to slide his feet on the perimeter and guard multiple positions, there's a chance that this is one of the better picks in the draft. I think Zeke Nnaji is a rotational type player in the NBA, and I believe he will continue to improve. The Nuggets have had a great couple of years in terms of player development. Many success stories here, whether it's Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic and Michael Porter and Monte Morris and Gary Harris and Will Barton and Jeremy Grant. All of these guys have improved while in a Nuggets jersey, and as a fan of Zeke, I think that this was one of the better spots he could have gone to. There's a chance that he could take over as the backup center going into the next year, depending on what happens with the Miles Mason Plumlee situation as a free agent in this upcoming free agency period that starts in, I think it's 5 p.m. Central Time, so 5.5 hours. And if not, then they've got chance for him to develop as a third big man on the roster, and maybe he can get some minutes at the 4 alongside the Joker as well. R.J. Hampton, like I said, guard from New Zealand. I'm a big fan of R.J. I'd say I'm not as big a fan as I am of Zeke, but I had RJ 15th on my personal big board, I think. Oh, no, it was 16th because I ended up putting Kira Lewis above him. But had him 16th, he fell all the way to 24. Great value pick for the Nuggets here. They love the upside as they've taken upside players numerous times with Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter. All those guys had significant upside over where they were drafted. And once again, I believe that that can apply to R.J. Hampton as well. He is a super athlete, really nice finisher, and has a great motor that allows him to be a good player on the defensive end of the floor. The question with him is the jump shot. And if it comes along, there's a chance he can end up being a really, really solid combo guard who can get you some buckets. Actually, I think Jamal Murray might be kind of a ceiling type of look for R.J. Hampton, what we have from Jamal right now. If he can continue to work on that jumper, become consistent with the shot, his athleticism and motor is going to allow him to be a really, really good NBA player by my estimation. And I think that, once again, excellent grab here at 24. Now let's talk about what this means for the Nuggets long term. Really, it starts with free agency. Like, they need to either re-sign Paul Millsap or re-sign Jeremy Grant because there is a significant hole with this team right now on the wing. At the guard positions, you have Jamal Murray, Monte Morris, and Gary Harris, as well as R.J. Hampton, but I'm not sure he'll play much. You could do to bring back one of your outgoing guard free agents. I think that Torrey Craig and P.J. Dozier are both decent rotation type guys, and it appears that Michael Malone really likes P.J. Dozier, so I would assume that he'll be back. But they should probably bring back one of those guys as another option. They also could bring in a third point guard. Raul Neto is a solid option for that type of player, especially since Monte Morris struggles on the defensive end. Adding a third point guard who is a good defender would be an intriguing option for me, so Neto would be someone I would think about if I were the Nuggets. Just bring him in on a minimum to play a third point guard position for you. Otherwise, bringing back Dozier or Craig to play at the 2 guard or a little bit on the wing could be a very nice move for them to make. Both of those guys are solid defenders who can shoot the ball at varying levels of success, but we did see PJ Dozier play really well in the playoff series against the Clippers, I believe, was where he got the bulk of his minutes, so I think that the Nuggets will likely look to bring him back. Torrey Craig is an interesting guy for me because I don't know how much he's going to get on the open market here. He is restricted, but he can't really shoot it. He's an excellent defensive player, though, so I'm sure that there will be some interest. We'll see if the Nuggets bring him back or not, but those are just some guys I wanted to talk about, get them out of the way. Now we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the free agency period for the Nuggets. It's Jeremy Grant and it's Paul Millsap. They got to bring one of them back. Right now on the wing, they do have Will Barton and Michael Porter Jr., but after that, there's absolutely no depth. I think that Jeremy Grant was a really good player for them in the bubble, but there's a chance that he really, really gets overpaid here. He did have a great bubble, but overall, when you look at the advanced statistics, his impact has been a little overrated. When he was on the court, they were actually worse than they were when he was off the court. This was true for the regular season, and it was true again in the playoffs. He's good defensively, and he can knock down open three-pointers, but he also can't do all that much in terms of creating shots for himself or his teammates, and I think that the fact that he played well in the playoffs has really blown his stock out of proportion, and I think he's going to get vastly overpaid. The Nuggets need to be really, really careful about what kind of contract they give to Jeremy Grant, because I think that there's a chance that this ends up being one of the worst contracts in the entire NBA. We'll look back on it and say, wow, how did Jeremy Grant get that much money? So they have to be careful about that. If they do get into a bidding war with someone, if it escalates above $13 million annually, then I think I would be okay letting him walk. The Nuggets need to go into this and have a set dollar amount that they're willing to pay Jeremy Grant, and once they hit that dollar amount, just let him go because it's not worth overpaying him. He's a good player, but he's not a franchise changer for you. He's just a role player, and you can use that cap space in a better way than giving Jeremy Grant a 4-year, $64 million deal. Paul Millsap might be on the opposite end of the spectrum. He did not play so well in the bubble. He looked a little creaky. He looked like an old man. He is an old man, but we have seen him still be a steady producer. He had a couple really important games for them in the Clippers series. I think there was one time where they were down by like 14 points. Happened all the time against the Clippers, but they blew the lead every time. But Paul Millsap went down, stayed locked in, was that veteran presence they needed, and scored like 6 straight points for them. He doesn't make a huge impact in the box score, but he plays good defense. He's a decent floor spacer. He can't create shots for himself as much as he used to be able to, but he's going to play good minutes for you. He's a good role player, and his on-off impact was actually better than Jeremy Grant's was, despite him not having great minutes in the playoffs. I think that if you can bring him around for a cheap deal, or even like the mid-level exception, something in that range, I would really look to bring him back at that level. Paul Millsap is a better player than Jeremy Grant. So if people are going to look to overpay Jeremy Grant and you can get Paul Millsap on a value deal, I think it's a no-brainer for the Nuggets. I could see them going the other way, though, and overpaying Jeremy just because of how well he played in the bubble, but I would rather keep Paul Millsap than Jeremy Grant. And like I said, there's a chance that you can actually get Paul Millsap for cheaper. So in my opinion, that's what the Nuggets should be looking to do. Last guy to address here is Mason Plumlee. Played some solid minutes for them as a backup center. Obviously, he had maybe the biggest brain fart of any NBA player in the NBA this season when he left Anthony Davis wide open for the buzzer beater in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. But he still gave them solid minutes. He's a good passer from the big man position, especially out of the short roll. He can set that screen, roll towards the free throw line and make the right decision about whether he should go up with it or find an open teammate on the perimeter. He's also a solid rim protector on defense, and his athleticism allows him to be more mobile than a lot of big men and switch out onto the perimeter a little bit. So if you can bring him back on a cheap deal, go for it. He's a good backup center. Something like the biannual exception would be acceptable to me. I think that's around $3 or $4 million, and it's for 2 years, obviously, as implied by biannual. So if you're getting Mason Plumlee on pretty much anything up to 2 years, $10 million, although if it were that kind of deal, I would rather put a team option on the second season. I think that you should sign Mason to that. If it gets past that, let him walk. He's a backup center. Centers are the easiest players to find on the market right now, and I think that you could bring in a guy like John Henson who can play a similar role and have a similar impact in those minutes to Mason Plumlee at the minimum. So if Plumlee demands too much, let him walk. Bring in a cheaper option at the backup center. Overall, like I said, I love the Zeke Nnaji pick for the Nuggets, and I love the RJ Hampton pick even more. I give them an A for this draft. I think that they did a terrific job, and I'm very, very excited to see this team continue to develop. Like I said, Paul Millsap and Jeremy Grant, they have to bring back one of them at least, but I am leaning towards being in favor of them bringing back Millsap because I feel that Grant will be overpaid. On the actual basketball court, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this team again. I think Michael Porter will be a starter for this team next year. Hopefully he can understand that he's going to be the third option and embrace the fact that he's probably going to be the best third option, one of the best third options in the entire NBA. Work on his defense, become better on that end of the floor, and if he can, I think that this team could win the championship next season. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I think that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you all again very soon. Oh, and also, I know I didn't talk about Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, but we know what we're getting from them. I don't have to talk about them. They are stars. So, yeah, you know about Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. I'll tell you about the other guys. So, all right, yeah, bye.